Minus 10, 9, 8.
The clock is
7.
operating. We're underway.
Tranquility Base here. Endeavor, go and throttle up.
All right, before we kick off the live broadcast, I have a note for everybody in the... All right, welcome back, everybody, to our live broadcast. For those of you that were joining us live on the web, we apologize. We had some technical difficulties that made us have to reset our cameras and things like that. But we are back live in action, hopefully now giving you real-time updates. We had a little bit of a delay this morning. Obviously, Luke will be joining me momentarily. He's out looking for athletes to give us some course condition updates because that's the kind of guy he is. But I'd like to quickly do our sponsor read from this morning since we didn't get a chance to do it. So the USCSA 2025 Nationals is brought to you by Vicks Protection, Bora Teamwear, Stio, Sync, and Patagonia. And again, we've been fortunate enough this week to have many sponsors. So we have different packages of sponsor reads, but we appreciate every one of our sponsors here at USCSA Nationals 2025. Coming at you live from Oregon, we are at Mount Bachelor. It's currently snowing, so you can tell that if you're joining us on the broadcast live. We've had some snowy conditions all day. They thought it would start around 3 p.m. I believe it started at 8:30. My local Bachelor friend tells me that that's quite common. But we are happy to kick things off. We are looking for the start of the women's 1.5K Classic Sprint. We have done our qualifications this morning, if you joined us with those, and we have now separated our top 30 women and top 30 men into 5 preliminary heats. So we will be looking for heat number 1 here at about 11:40. We're about 10 minutes behind our estimated start time, but not too bad. In heat 1, we will feature Lily Hubanks, Ann Straka, Ren Hybertson, Louisa Lamare, Michaela Hetchler, and Bella Jurwitz. So we will have great action coming to you. Again, this will be seeds 1, 10, 11, 20, 21, and 30. And it now seems like my co-broadcaster Luke is back. He's brought someone to talk to so we can get some course condition updates. So Luke, kick it off.
Absolutely, yeah. We're glad to be here in the booth with Emma Reinecke. She's the co-president of the University of Minnesota Nordic Ski Club and the current USCSA student representative, along with Jeff Hodgson. Emma, we'd love to hear from you about how conditions were, what you think it's going to be like for the athletes when they move into the heats here. Please speak loudly and clearly into the microphone.
Well, it's been a fun day overall. I think people can agree that it's great snowman building weather, so it'll be interesting to see how it comes out now. The tracks were already having some snow over top of them, even when I was racing, just from like the 5 minute when the course was closed, so it'll be interesting now having that course be closed for a while, seeing how much it'll be over the tracks.
When skiers are out there head-to-head, what do you think is going to be the decisive part of the course? Is there a particular corner or climb that you think is really going to make or break the heats?
That second half, the middle to second half of the course is probably going to be the biggest, from my thoughts, just because those tracks are so different of each side of that inside versus outside, as well as the corner, maybe about halfway through. That corner could make or break. If one person goes down, it'll take a good corner still.
And is that the corner coming into this final pitch here on the switchback, or what corner are we talking about?
Yeah, yes.
All right, so the great news is, folks, that we are going to have a camera up at the top of that final pitch. So while we won't be able to see the corner itself, we will be able to see who comes over the top of the hill in the lead. I guess last but not least, can you tell us what you were kicking on today?
I had some violet with just a tiniest bit of blister over top with some black powder to try and keep from icing. I liked the violet, can't say I like the blister.
Well, it was worth a shot, and finally we have some insight as to what people are actually trying to stride on. Finally, a coach who's not too cagey.
Yeah, I thought it was crowns for sure. I keep saying crowns. I'm going to be right one of these days.
Well, any words for the athletes, Emma, before we send you out to cheer?
Should be a good one. All athletes, good luck. Should be fun.
Thank you so much, Emma. Great race today. We can't wait to see the University of Minnesota out on the course, and congratulations on a strong showing so far at Nationals. Take care, Emma.
All right, and so that was Emma Reinecke, correct? That was giving us that information, so we appreciate that from her. We are about 5 minutes now from kicking off our heat prelims for the women, and again, we will do the prelims of both the women and the men, and then we will go on to the next stage, the semis, and then the finals. Now, something a little bit unique is that there will be both a final A and a final B. That'll determine our top 10. So remember, we have to award places 1 through 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we need to run 2 finals heats in order to make sure we get that podium correct so that they can have their moment at awards later in Bend tonight. But again, we are currently about 5 minutes away. I'll read you that heat number 1, and I'll give you heat number 2 so you have something to look forward to. But in lane 1 will be Lily Hubanks, who qualified first overall today. In the second lane will be Ann Straka, who qualified 10th. In the third lane will be Ren Hybertson, who qualified 11th. In the fourth lane will be Louisa Lamare, and she will be our 20th competitor. Or 20th is what she seeded. Our 5th in the lane will be Michaela Hetchler, who is 21st. And finally, we have our 6th, Bella Jurwitz, who qualified 30th. So our 30th overall racer is Bella Jurwitz. So again, as we talk about the seeding a little bit, that'll give you an idea of where these women finished on their qualifications this morning. So any jumps up in the ranking will be quite impressive. For heat number 2, which will happen 5 minutes after heat number 1, we have Liesl Koop-Schaefer with the 2nd seed, Lily Ward in the 9th seed, Elizabeth Wider in the 12th seed, Sylvia Mesa in the 19th seed, Jana Boonstra in the 22nd, and Mira Tomten, our 29th. Yeah. I apologize if I got it wrong. All I meant was that they got first pick of their own lane. So qualified first gets first pick of the lane. So when I said lane 1, I only meant that lane 1 by their choosing. So I was corrected, so apologies for that. But anyone joining us live or here in the person, if you rank above that person, you get to pick your own lane. So again, Lily Hubanks, our overall seed number 1, will pick her lane first, and then Ann Straka will pick second in the heat. But again, I read the heat too, so we have something to look forward to. But again, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been out here supporting. Again, a snowy, kind of windy day, although it does look like the wind has started to die down maybe just a bit. And we're starting to see that heavy, wet snow come in. We will kick off our heats in 3 minutes now or so. Looks like our women are starting to move their way into the start line, so we'll cut to that action momentarily and give you an idea of what you're looking for. Update on the bibs. Again, the bibs are in the hundreds, but they are replicating their placement. So again, Lily Hubanks wearing bib 101, showing her top seeding. All right, yeah, again, looks like we're having a bit of a delay on our camera. Sorry to leave you so quickly. We're working on a few technical difficulties. It looks like our camera is still a bit behind. So we were giving you live action that we can see, and then live action that you will follow from the webcast. But again, we're just running a bit slow, probably due to the weather here, but we are trying our best to get you as quickly as possible. Looks like we have, if you're joining us on the webcast, you're seeing the athletes now make their way into the start gate, but we have about all 6 of our first wave ready to go. They've all clipped on their skis, moving them back and forth, right, keeping the snow off them, as Luke and I have talked about. So we will start to see them go. They are be giving their instructions now, and then we will have our races, our prelims for the heats in the women's 1.5 kilometer sprint coming at you live momentarily. Luke, any update? You were outside for a bit.
Yeah,
wet, snow.
Just trying to get our our course coverage squared away from the radio side of things. We should be able to, we'll give it a try, but we're hopeful that some of the areas that we don't quite have camera coverage on, we'll be able to hear from some of our volunteers out on the course. Interesting to note, as you see everybody line up here, we begin 6 lanes wide, and then there is a short scramble zone in which there are no tracks. People going down to 3 lanes. So you can see as they move to the line that Lily Hubanks, who qualified first, is actually in a sort of a middle lane so that she can hopefully well position herself. And there's the start. Lots of striding out of the start. It looks like Wyoming is off to an early lead. Lily Hubanks in second. Teammate from St. Olaf following in third. Looks like CSU in the mix, and Straka off to the right-hand side in fifth, and Duluth, Michaela Hetchler in sixth.
Yeah, again, looks like our broadcast is running a bit behind, but we did have our first wave start. And again, Luke's going to be trying to get live updates from the course as we go. We will also try to get you that spot on the corner where Emma told us it might be the most hairy, and then we will follow them into the finish line and give you live updates about who is advancing. Again, top 2 advance from each heat, and then 2 lucky losers. And we go over that format one more time. That means that the top 2 times among these 6 preliminary heats will be also advancing into the semifinals. So get a fast time. Even if you come in third, you may still find yourself moving on.
Yes, and that creates a really interesting dynamic in terms of the pace of the heats. We also need the second heat down to the line ASAP. So if you're in heat 2, you need to be proceeding to the line immediately. Slider, do you know what the gap is between heats today?
We have 5 minutes between heats. We have 5 minutes between heats. So athletes should be ready to go as soon as the heat in front of them moves away, because again, we're looking at times for completion of the course of about 4 to 5 minutes. That was what we were running in prelims. But again, you were bringing up an interesting point that
Yes, the lucky loser element ensures that people don't try and game the system too hard when it comes to going easy in the heats and just getting a first or second place finish. Athletes who are sitting in third or fourth or are concerned that they might not have the skis to challenge the first place, the leader in their heat, have a big incentive to really push the pace and try and bring up the speed of the entire heat so that they can occupy a lucky loser slot. It's a great way to ensure that we don't have skiers essentially taxiing around the course and then sprinting 10 meters up the final hill.
Yeah, excellent point. Again, we're now waiting on our heat number 1. We're trying to catch them on our camera and get some live update for you about who's in the lead as our heat number 2 gets themselves set into the course. Again, our top seed for heat number 2 will be Liesl Koch-Schaefer, who came in second overall, so again, gets to pick her lane. I know that was a little confusing earlier, so I apologize. And then we have Lily Ward from St. Olaf and Elizabeth Wider from St. Olaf. So again, 3 St. Olaf teammates in the same heat for heat number 2. Means it's going to be a little competitive in there to see who can move on.
I think it's actually 4 slider because Mira Thompson, is in 6th. So hopefully there's not going to, we could see if this is a lucky loser heat, we could see 3 of the 4 Olies moving on. But there'll certainly be a bit of friendly team competition here in heat 2.
Yeah, I didn't even see that, Mira Thompson, so thank you for pointing that out. Again, now checking on our live cast, we are waiting for that first heat to come through. Again, we will run all 5 of the women's heats for the prelims, and then we will run all 5 of the men's, and we will alternate between that system until we crown our national champion for the 1.5 kilometer classic sprint today. Thank you all for joining us again. A beautiful snowy day here at Mount Bachelor. Can't wait to maybe pop on the alpine skis after this is all over and take a run or two.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for the women here in Heat 1 is that the tracks that they're going through have yet to be skied in. We had that 20 or 30-minute break after qualifying. And so whoever is up at the front of Heat 1 is going to be working hard. All right, we have the skiers hitting the base of the second-to-last climb. All right, Wisconsin appears to be in the lead. Sounds like 101, Lily Hughbanks, and potentially UYO are in second and third. Wisconsin seems like maybe falling to second, and we should be able to see these folks on the live feed in just a moment. And there they come. It's the University of Wisconsin at the top of the hill, neck and neck with Lily Hughbanks, who appears to be in first by just a hair. University of Wyoming, bib 111. That's Ren Hybertson is in second. Oh, and an unfortunate fall for Ann Straka from the University of Wisconsin coming around the corner. It looks like she got caught in some of that powder. Yeah, and we talked about that corner now being a problem. It's a good thing that Lily Hughbanks and, who was it, Ren Hybertson that was right there that didn't get caught up with her falling as well. And now we will come around for our corner and we will start to see them finish, and here they come. So again, we saw Lily Hughbanks now taking that top spot, followed closely though by bib 11, which is Ren Hybertson. Again, top 2 will proceed, so they at this point might know that they've assured themselves at least to move on. And here's what you're saying, they can kind of now coast in, and we'll see who that lucky loser who's going to be sprinting to the finish now to get a top time. Yes, that's exactly right. It looks like Ann Straka had a pretty quick recovery from that unfortunate fall. She's coming up through the gate now, just behind Hughbanks and Hybertson. With Hughbanks and Hybertson leading the way, this certainly could have been one of the day's faster heats. So Ann Straka certainly not out of contention for advancing in a lucky loser spot. We'll have to see how heats 4 through 5 go. Yeah, and it definitely, like you said, that snow on the course, it definitely looked like they were moving a bit slower than they'd like to. Maybe they're going to change that kick wax out, try to get another set going. Again, no adjustments made to the glide of the ski, but the kick wax can be altered between heats. That's a rule that I learned last night reading the coaches' meeting texts, or at least the slides on the Google Doc. But we are ready for Heat 2, I believe. They are all in the gate getting ready, although we may have lost one of our cameras for a moment. So I will give you the names. We have Liesl Koch-Schaefer, who had the top seed in this heat, so she had her pick of the bibs, or the lanes, I mean. Lily Ward behind her, Elizabeth Wider, Sylvia Meza, Jana Boonstrom, and Mira Thompson now, and they are off. So again, a little bit of a delay on our live feed, but they have started. It looks like it's a close heat so far, Luke. Not a lot of separation among the 6 of them. Absolutely. 4 Olies in the heat, 1 Bulldog, and 1 Badger. So it's an all Midwestern heat. Over at the finish line, we also just saw Michaela Hetchler from the University of Minnesota Duluth come through, and in bib 103, that's Bella Jurwitz from CSU. So Heat 1 finished, Lily Hughbanks, and that was
Ren
from Wyoming. Yes,
yeah, Ren
Hybertson advancing. And Heat 2 off to a strong start. We should be hearing, it seems, in about 3.5 minutes from our eye on the course, and that, of course, is Nordic volunteer extraordinaire Riley Nilsson, who is down there. He's at the base of the penultimate climb. So we've got one punchy climb with about 1/4 of a kilometer, just under half a kilometer to go. They herringbone to the top. You'll be able to see them on camera once they reach the top of the hill. And from there, it's a quick U-turn, downhill slope, spin around, come uphill into the finish. So when you start hearing us call out the names of the athletes from our advanced spotter, that means that they have less than half a kilometer to go. And here it looks like we have the final finisher of the number 1 heat. That's bib 120. Yes, and remember, we only have 5-minute gaps between heats, so the women who are racing in Heat 3 need to make their way down to the starting area right now. The women racing in Heat 3 should proceed to the starting area. Again, we only have 5 minutes between heats, so once you see the heat ahead of you go, you should be losing the warm-up gear, making sure your bib is on, brushing the last bit of snow off those skis, and making your way down to the grid.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment really quick. I know, again, if you're not joining us live in person, you may not see this, but I'm watching the athletes come up with their skis, take them off, and then chip snow off the bottom of them with a pole. I'm actually watching Lily Hughbanks do that right in front of me. So it looks like it's sticking, although it does look like she may have zeros on, and it's still stuck to those, which is a little bit impressive. But again, so tricky conditions out there for the athletes as as the snow continues to fall and pile up. Nordic skiers are notorious for not really wanting fresh powder, whereas maybe an alpine skier would enjoy that. But for racing purposes alone, Nordic skis are not always meant to drive through that powder the same way an alpine or snowboard may.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I think Heats 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to have things a little bit easier than Heat 1 did now that those tracks are skied in a little bit. However, even once they get out of the tracks, unfortunately, we saw right there on camera that some of those corners are getting a little chopped up, a little powdery, and this wet, heavy stuff, once you get a ski sunk into it, you're going to be in trouble. It's unfortunately an easy way to go down hard. It was a great quick recovery from Ann Straka, and we'll see whether or not the speed of that heat was enough to advance her.
Yeah, while we have a moment, while we're waiting for some confirmation on who's coming around, we'll go ahead and announce Heat 3. That's Shayla Babbitts, Samantha Vauthier, Bridget Reich, Maisie Morley, Jackie Wells, and Kira Wolf. So we have, again, a couple teammates from the University of Wyoming in this heat at the 1 and 2 seeds for this one, so 3 and 8th overall. So we'll see if a little teamwork makes the dream work as they produce. Yeah. Yeah. Looks like we're now getting some confirmation from our correspondent on the course about who's coming up, and we will try to get that for you on camera as soon as possible.
Yes.
So we will be switching to our corner camera.
Looks like some skiers are striding over the top of that penultimate hill. It's bibs 107 and 104 cresting the hill together. They're followed by 124 and 114 off the back. So in the lead, 107. I believe that might actually be 102. Liza Koch-Schaefer. It can be hard to tell in the snow.
Yeah.
104, I'm guessing, is actually 109. That's Lily Ward. And then 112.
Elizabeth Wider.
Wider, that's right. So it looks like into the last half a kilometer, it should be Liza Koch-Schaefer in the lead. And sure enough, here she comes into the final uphill. That's 107.
Yeah.
Liza Koch-Schaefer followed by 104. Lily Ward.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the bib number on this one, but I do believe we have it correct. I thought Liza Koch-Schaefer was bib 2, but I am seeing maybe that is bib 7. So that we're not quite sure.
A slight discrepancy between the sheet that we're looking at and the actual bibbing, but either way, it's going to be St. Olaf 1, 2, and right behind them, CMU in third. So that's going to be Janya Boomstra in third from Heat 2. Bib 114 from St. Olaf finishing in fourth. And coming up behind it looks like one more St. Olaf skier. That's Bib 127.
Yeah. Not sure there which one that is, but I think that might be Mirror Tom 10. We're not quite sure. We're again reading our information from our timing booth, and we do have the heats are correct, but maybe the bibs don't quite correspond. As we're joined live now, we're just seeing heat number 3 take off. Again, a little bit of a delay on our front camera, so if you're tuned in with us, you can see them getting ready in the start gate, but you'll see them take off momentarily. And then again, we will wait to try to hear who's coming around the hill. We'll get a shot from our cameraman on the corner. But while we have a few minutes, again, we'll try to sort out who finished in the top spots from heat number 2, and we'd like to quickly announce that heat number 4 should already be making their way to the start gate. So again, heat number 4 for the women, which will be Amelia Cam Magruder, the top seed here. Eleanor Vauthier, the second seed. Ada Chapman, the third seed. Ayla Bodak-Turner from UMF, the fourth seed. Gabrielle Spira, who the 5th seed, and finally Ainsley Casper will round out our heat number 4 as the 6th seed. So again, heat number 4 should already be making their way toward the start line. And then again, we will continue to wait as we have looking for the corner. We're going to try to find a hard copy of the bib list so we can keep you up to date as much as possible on who is who and who is advancing. Again, a little bit of discrepancy maybe between the seeding and the bib, but I'm seeing bib 102 making their way toward the start gate. So again, heat number 4, which was Amelia Cam Magruder, Eleanor Vauthier, Ada Chapman, Ayla Bodak-Turner, Gabrielle Spira, and Ainsley Casper for our heat number 4. Again, if you're joining the live broadcast, you're still seeing finishers. Again, we're a little delayed on that camera. So if it feels like we're moving ahead of what you're seeing, that is why. But we're just trying to keep it as accurate as possible for the people in the crowd and also for the people joining us live. Looks like my partner Luke has recovered some start lists, maybe with bibs on them. Super helpful as we move forward and want to know who people are.
That's right, Slider. Now we've got the official numbers, so we apologize for any confusion on the races earlier. We now have the official list of names. So all these names we called really were in the heats that we said they were, and we just misidentified the bibs. This now will tell us true who corresponds to which bib, which will be particularly helpful when we go to the, what should we call this, the Nilsson cam? It's not really a cam, it's sort of our, like we said, advanced spotter out there on the course.
Yeah, but just to give you some updates from quarterfinal number 2, it looks like bib 107 was Lily Ward and bib 104 was Liesl Cope-Schaefer. So that was your 2, I believe, that came in first.
Yes.
So again, the teammates, but Lily Ward and then followed by Liesl Cope-Schaefer, and then I believe Elizabeth Wider was bib 114. So she was third there in that heat.
No, sorry, that was Janya Boomstruck from Colorado Mesa.
Oh, that was 124. Okay. Excuse me then. This is, again, why we needed a correct bib number so we could call it as we see it. But again, now we are going to wait at our corner camera for our next shot. Hoping to grab that sooner rather than later. We should expect the girls to come through pretty quickly here. We had a 10-minute delay, but we're on schedule as far as I know for the next heats, and we're setting up heat number 4 currently, and it will be our second to last heat as we have 5 prelims for both the men and the women, so the top 30 skiers from this morning who qualified.
Great skiers in this heat. Great, we've got skiers coming through. All right. 105, Shayla Babbitts is leading ahead of 106, Samantha Vauthier. 116, Maisie Mosley is in third. 115, Bridget Roysch, and 125, Jackie Wells in 4 and 5.
Sounds like this heat's...
Kira Wolf from UMD is off the back. Most of the skiers are able to actually stride the hill, which is great, a little bit of slippage. And here they come into the view of the camera. Leading should be 105. Shayla Babbitts, right on her tail, appears to be 106. Samantha Vauthier, and sure enough, in third from Western Colorado is Maisie, wanted out by somebody.
Maisie Mosley, I believe.
Maisie Mosley, does that sound right?
Morley, excuse
Morley,
me.
Morley. See, that's the problem with
Yeah.
hard copies. When the paper gets wet, it's hard to tell what these names are.
But either way, this is a close heat. I mean, we've got girls that are right on each other. So again, we'll see if they can make any transitions from this finish line. You talked about it earlier. It's a long stretch.
And look at Maisie. She's got that Kleibo kick up the final hill, running on the skis. She's closing the gap ever so slightly in the double pull. She might be able to pull on 106 here. She's got just enough space to do it.
Let's see if Maisie Morley can make her second place here. Oh, just off.
Outside of it before that fast heat. I bet they are contenders for
the lucky loser.
Have to see. Meanwhile, off to our right, the excitement continues. Is that heat 4 that is
Yes,
underway
heat
now?
4 has just gone off, so we are now going to call our 5th and final heat for the women. So again, 5th and final heat, which will consist of Jessie Rose Church, Maddie Rosenberger, Annika Furman, Eleanor Bennett, Sierra Zoe Bennett Mankey, and Ruthie Richardson. So those 6 skiers should now be heading toward the start line. Again, we are behind on our camera there. We apologize. So you are still seeing heat number 4 if you're joining us live.
Yes, and just to refresh your memory on heat number 4, on the camera, about to go off. In real life, they've already departed. But Ame Cam Magruder, Eleanor Vauthier, Ada Chapman, Isla Bodak-Turner, Gabrielle Spira, and Ainsley Casper are the 6 women in that heat, which is well underway now. They've got about a minute of skiing under their belt. That means we should have just about 2 minutes to go until we hear from our spotter. Riley Nilsson is doing a great job down there at the bottom of the hill, calling out those names, giving us a sense of who's hitting the base of the hill first, before the camera flips over to see who actually crests the hill first.
Yeah, we've had some tight races. It's good. I'll be curious to see how quarterfinal 5 comes out. But again, just to reiterate, once we launch quarterfinal number 5 for the women, we'll move straight onto the quarterfinals for the men's. So men that have qualified should start getting themselves moving and ready, perhaps. I'll try to pull up those results as soon as we get through the women's division here, and then we will start to read off some names that have qualified and see who's seeded first. Although we talked about it earlier, the men's division was very tight for the top seeding, only 7 seconds separating the top 6 competitors. So we should see some really interesting heats as those guys break into their 30.
Yes, especially once we get to the semifinals, I think it's really close between those top 3 to 5 guys. It'll be interesting to see if in theory, each one of those gentlemen that qualified in the 1-5 spot are going to be in a separate heat. So they did have a bit of a substantial gap on the rest of the field. We're going to have to see whether or not they break early and lead from the front, or if given the conditions, things follow the pattern that so far the women's heats have adhered to, in which it seems there's at most, I should say at least, a pack of 2 coming up over the second to last hill. We haven't seen anybody crest that hill solo. We haven't seen anyone really come into the finish solo. It's been groups of 2, if not 3, unless, disrupted by a fall. And so, we'll have to see if the men break early or if the men stay clumped up.
Yeah, and also with the changing snow conditions, the track getting used now by the women, we'll see if those times change, if the wax changes. I'm sure they're still out on their skis right now trying to dial it in as close as possible to what they think is going to work. Again, only a K&a-half, but if you clump up on your classic skis, a K&a-half can feel like an eternity.
Absolutely, and at that point you're asking yourself whether it's worth the time to pause for a second and try and brush off the bottom of your ski without falling over, or if you're just going to muscle through. But certainly
or even keep going.
Exactly right. Certainly not a situation that you want to be caught in.
Yeah.
You can see the skiers at the starting line. All right, 102 is leading at the base of the penultimate hill. 109 following behind. They're charging the hill together. That means Ame Cam Magruder is leading at the base of the penultimate climb, followed by 109 Eleanor Vauthier. 112 to the outside. That's Ada Chapman. So we've got visuals on 102, 109, and 112. Sure enough, here comes Ame Cam Magruder. That's bid 102 up over the top of the hill. Strong double pull. And bid 112 is that's Ada Chapman. Will follow Eleanor Vauthier over the top of the hill. So Ame Cam Magruder has broken the pack a little bit here coming into the finish. It's going to be interesting to see whether Ada Bodak-Turner or Eleanor Vauthier is first across the line. They're going to be fighting hard for one of the dwindling qualifying spots.
I'm not sure if you're able to hear your voice, Luke. You can hear mine fine, but can you hear Luke's fine? Go ahead and speak.
Roy, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Just a little bit.
Oh, no. Okay, Roy, can you hear me now? Now it's better?
Okay.
Great. So we can hear me better now, and wonderful. Ame Magruder looking over her shoulder. She's got a big lead here. She's going to walk it into the finish line, but a dead heat between Bodak Turner and Vauthier into the finish. It looks like Vauthier is leading ever so slightly. Bodak Turner is in third here. Athletes exhausted as they cross the line. Wow, seems like they're working hard in the heavy snow. We should have the remaining 3 skiers from Heat 4 coming across the line before too long. We can see one coming onto the camera now. That appears to be bib 122. That's Gabrielle Spira from McGill University. And Heat 5 is underway. Maddie Rosenberger striding to an early and very narrow lead. That's from the University or Western Colorado University. She's followed by Paul Smith's college. I'm guessing that's Jessie Rose Church. Looks as well like Eleanor Bennett from University of Wisconsin-Madison is staying in the mix. We've also got Annika Furman representing St. Olaf College and Ruthie Richardson from Colorado Mesa, as well as Sierra Zoe Bennett Mankey from the United States Military Academy. So Heat 5 for the women underway. Bib 119 from University of Maine Farmington. That's Isla Bodak Turner. Crossing the line, I'm sorry, I had earlier mixed up Isla Bodak Turner and Ada Chapman. It was Ada Chapman representing Western who was third place in Heat 4. And Ainsley Casper from the University of Minnesota Twin Cities striding to the finish here of Heat 4. I know she's getting a big cheer from the Gophers in and around the finish line. But Heat 5 for the women out on the course. That means men's Heat 1 should be ready to go.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to get some updates for you on the men's brackets so that we can stay live with them as well. So we can see the women are in progress. It looks like the men will be right behind them. So let me switch screens. All right. I can give you an update on who will be in the men's first heat. We have Pavel Rova, obviously our top-seeded man after the morning. Daniel Gladkoff right behind him. Benjamin Bauer, Jack Lackman, Wellesley Sumner, and A.J. Hemenick from University of Wisconsin there. So again, a couple of teammates with the Olaf crew up at the top here. And then they'll have some competition from the Mesa boys in that heat as well. So a couple of teammates going to go head-to-head, see if who can move on.
Yeah, and it's not quite the women's Heat 2 where 5 out of the 6 skiers were from the Midwest, but looks like we've got 3 Midwestern schools and 4 athletes represented. Also worth noting that Jack Lackman at Mesa is from Wausau, Wisconsin, so that's a Wisconsinite in Heat 1. And Wes Sumner, I can't quite recall where Wes grew up, but I know that last year he was racing for St. Olaf, so we'll shoehorn him in as a Midwesterner as well and call men's Heat 1 a Midwestern Heat. Let's see, however, if those Colorado boys can bring back some hardware to their adopted home or at least advance into the semifinals on behalf of their adopted home in sunny Colorado. We should be hearing very shortly from Riley Nilsson, our eye not in the sky.
On the ground.
Our eye on the ground, yep, and that's where to keep them trained. At the base of that second-to-last climb, it's a short, it's a punchy one, and so far his calls have been pretty spot on in terms of who we should expect coming to the very top of that hill. Doesn't actually seem like there's been a lot of movement place-wise. Who Riley calls tends to be the people that we see crest in the lead. So, boys, maybe keep that in mind. If you're sitting in 2 or 3, catch them by surprise and make a big move on that climb.
I've also been given some information, Luke, from our timer, Bob Underwood. Does seem like you're getting some information, so I'll wait.
Yep, 103, Jessie Rose Church is leading.
Okay, Jessie Rose Church from our Heat 5.
Maddie Rosenberger is a bit behind Jessie Rose Church, kicking up the hill. They're followed by 113, Annika Furman, and Eleanor Bennett in 3 and 4. And it sounds like the girls are moving in a line up the hill with Jessie Rose Church at the lead, Maddie Rosenberger a bit off of her in second, Annika Furman from St. Olaf in third, fairly close with Eleanor Bennett from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. They're going to be followed by bibs 123 and 128. So when we get to the crest cam, we will see whether or not that holds true as we approach the end of the final women's heat and the beginning of the first men's heat.
Yeah, it looks like I do see a competitor now coming up over the hill. Might have missed them on the camera, but that's okay.
That's bib 103. That's Jessie Rose Church. Sure enough, she's kept that gap that she had on the penultimate climb, coming in with quite a lead into the finish. And it appears, based on the red shins, that Maddie Rosenberger is second, double poling into the finish, but stepping onto the outside, that's going to be Annika Furman from St. Olaf. We'll see if Annika has enough room to reel Maddie in on the double pole. It looks like it's going to be close, and if Annika had 50 more meters, it could be possible, but Maddie Rosenberger is going to seal the deal in second. Annika Furman a close third, and Eleanor Bennett coming up in fourth for the final women's heat.
Yeah, so it looks like we're having a bit of trouble on our cameras right now, if I'm reading my board operator correctly. So we're going to have to just do live for most of this until we can get those back up and running. We are trying to reset the Pterodex at the moment. So Luke and I will just call it, and we'll give you the eye in the sky view because we actually are a little bit raised up a little, Luke. So we have the men's heat now getting ready to go. Again, Pavel Rova, Daniel Gladkoff, Benjamin Bauer, Jack Lackman, and Wesley Sumner, and AJ Hemenick, and they are off, as you were saying.
There's the gun, and a little bit of slipping off the start from Rova, but look at him stride up that opening hill. Yeah. Goodness gracious. All right, Rova to a hard-charging start. Interesting to see that Ben Bauer is in the mix as well. That's, of course, Ben would double pole this entire course if he could. Bauer. We will see how that double polling plays out. Definitely looked like Rova might have had the edge on this heat, given that striding out of the gate, but we'll see how things sort out when we get to the flatter sections of the course, which are, of course, the first 3/4 of a kilometer or so.
Yeah, and, obviously we've talked about it, but as the course continues to change with the snow falling and the people skiing on it, one quick fall from Rova could have the whole thing blown up in 2 or 3 seconds. Looks like we're going to move on now to heat number 2 for the men. So that means that Philip Matthews, Tyler Hipchin, Benjamin Martin, Isaac Kristich, Edison Byram, and Philip Crom will be going. It does look like I'm getting a phone call maybe from our timer, so I'm going to step away for 1 second. Luke, and let you take over.
That's all right, Slider. I'll hold down the fort. So yes, for the men's heat 2, you should be making your way to the starting line. If qualifying times are any indication, we can expect the men's heats to take somewhere between 3.5 and 4 minutes. So that means that we should be hearing from Riley, our eye on the ground, at right about the 2.5 minute mark. We will do our best to relay those standings to you as quickly as possible, especially given the current camera difficulties. But we know that our camera crew is working super hard on that. They've been holding down the fort excellently in this driving snow and in these tough conditions. So we really appreciate everything they do to keep you guys informed about the racing and keep this entertaining for all the moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, landlords, employers, public works employees, etc. at home who constitute your hundreds of adoring fans, if not thousands.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did get some info from our timer, so we are going to have official women's results here. So our top competitors moving on, plus our 2 lucky losers, sent to me very shortly, and we will go ahead and read those off so that everybody knows what we're looking for. But again, it looks like we have the heat number 2 for the men stepping into their start lanes. They've picked their lane, and now they're getting their instructions. So again, instructions are very key here. They get a bunch of rules, things they're allowed to do, things they're not allowed to do. And again, if you're joining us on the camera, you're actually seeing the heat number 1 go off now. So again, a little bit of a delay here with the cameras, but we will do our best to keep you updated on what is happening, and then you can view it at your leisure behind us.
Yeah, it's interesting to see here in heat number 2. All right, here for heat number 1, skiers coming up. Pavel Rova with a bit of a lead at the base of the hill. It's 11, 20, and 10. That's Daniel Gladkoff, Benjamin Bauer, and Jack Lackman are in a pack following Pavel Rova. All right. It seems like Pavel Rova has opened a late lead in the race here, and it's going to be a dead heat between Ben Bauer, Daniel Gladkov, and Jack Lackman for the number 2 spot.
This is where it gets exciting, Luke, where maybe we don't even know because we can't see them yet, but we're getting that eye in the sky or the eye on the ground, and then we're going to have to watch them crest that hill and come up and then see the finish.
And sure enough, here into the finish lane, it's Pavel Rova. He's maintained that lead, beginning to slow down the pace of the double pole a little bit because there's a significant gap. And double polling hard, that blue hat and that form looks like Ben would double pole the entire course if he could. Bauer is in second, if I do believe my very own eyes. He's followed by Jack Lackman in 3. In 4, that's another St. Olaf skier. My guess is it's Daniel Gladkov. Yeah. And in 5, that's got to be Wes Sumner, bib 21. So Pavel Rova striding, breaking out to an early lead, but another Midwesterner, Ben Bauer, hanging in the mix there, and a close finish between places 2 and 4. It sounds like...
Yeah, but I think there was a photo finish for that 3rd place. I mean, those 2 skiers coming toward the end, basically boot for boot, and again, lucky loser being really important here. Who can jump ahead and maybe get a spot in the next round? Because Pavel Rova with that pacing probably on a pretty good time, personally.
I think that's a good guess. I think with Rova leading the way and Bauer doing his best to track him down, this was a fast heat for sure. We're going to have to go to the photo and see if someone got a lucky loser spot. Looks like Heat 2 is underway. Ben Martin and Phil Matthews are off to an early lead, representing PSC and University of Wisconsin-Madison. A little bit of striding out of the gate, then double polling up the opening climb. Coming into the final drag here at the finish is bib 30, AJ Hemming, representing the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So Heat 1 is done. Heat 2 is underway. And we're going to start seeing how things shake out in this fast men's division as the day goes on.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and give you some women's results so that we can plan ahead for our semifinals. Again, 2 semifinals and then 2 finals so we can figure out our top 10 here. But in semifinal 1 for the women, we're going to have Ren Hybertson, Lily Hubanks, Lily Ward, Liesl Cope-Schaefer, Shayla Babbitts, and Maisie Morley. And in our semifinal number 2, we're going to have Amalie Cam McGruber, Eleanor Vauthier, Jessie Rose Church, Maddie Rosenberg, Samantha Vauthier, and Ada Chapman, which means that our 2 lucky losers for the semifinals were Ada Chapman and Maisie Morley. So those will be our 12 competitors for the women's semifinal heat.
If I'm correct, Slider, I believe Ada Chapman and Maisie Morley are both Western Colorado skiers. Is that right?
It is correct, yes.
Well, I think that, all right. It sounds
and we're going to have a pair of sisters racing in the semifinals with the Vauthiers,
yes,
or cousins, or we're not sure how they're related, but we're assuming they're sisters.
Well, I was more saying that it looks like our Western Colorado coaches are doing a great job on teaching their skiers to race for time and to keep going until they cross the line. Both lucky losers going to Western Colorado. That's very well done. Congratulations, Western. And to the Vauthier sisters, this is going to be an exciting family matchup.
Yeah.
Again, this is assuming they're siblings. We have yet to be contradicted on that, and we don't know how many Vauthiers there could be in Laramie.
I think it's more fun to assume they're sisters. And I assume then they have some sort of family rivalry that will, determine maybe like inheritance or who gets the car or some sort of, sibling rivalry. So I'm going to just go ahead and make it up.
Very high stakes sibling rivalry. Yeah, exactly, I feel like at this point we're reading in a whole fictitious background, but that's exciting. We've got minutes to kill while we're here in the booth before we wait for the we've got to do something in the eye in the sky, eye on the ground. If anyone wants to think of a pun with Riley, that would be great. What rhymes with Riley? Chew on that. Come by the booth if you've got a suggestion. But we've got to name this ground reporting.
Yeah. This hypothetical situations that I'm doing reminds me that we have other broadcasts going on today. If anyone is interested, we have both the freestyle crew going and the alpine crew.
All right, it sounds like 4 is leading over 7 and 24. That's Philip Matthews leading over Tyler Hipchin and Edison Byram at the base of the penultimate climb. Again, Philip Matthews in the lead, Tyler Hipchin and Edison Byram. Now Tyler Hipchin has moved level with number 4, so they should be cresting together. It looks like it's going to be a hot race between Philip Matthews and Tyler Hipchin into the finishing stretch. They're followed by Edison Byram. We don't yet have confirmation on where. Ben Martin, Isaac Kristich. Again, these letters are bleeding. Isaac Kristich and Philip Cram. But as we look now towards the finish, we should see Phil Matthews. And, yep, there's Phil Matthews. But right on his tail is Tyler
we're gonna have a close race
It's
here.
going to be very tight. Let's see if Tyler hops out and double pulls.
Yeah, again, these are the top two here. So,
Yes. Looking over his shoulder, it looks like he's going to be content for 2. But battling it out for 3 and 4,
Bib
that
4.
looks like 2 Paul Smith skiers. So that's got to be the rest of them. No, that's got to be Isaac Kristich and someone else. You know, who knows?
One thing we
and
did,
Edison Byram. Excuse me.
One thing we didn't really mention too, and as you could see it from our view here, was that when they noticed they were 1 and 2, they kind of take it easy. Now we've talked about it, but as you advance, you're going to have to keep skiing. So to make sure that you are giving yourself enough adequate rest when you can take those opportunities, because you are going to have to ski this again. Doing these 1.5Ks at max intensity with max pace over and over is really fatiguing on the body. So good job by our skiers there to notice that they're, in those top 2 positions and start to cool it down a little bit. Yeah, let them eat, number 4. Let them eat.
And we've got Benjamin Martin from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the finish. He's followed by Philip Cram. And here we go, men's heat 3. A lot of Wyoming boys in this one. We've got 2 Wyoming boys, 2 Olaf boys, Paul Smits, and Clarkson going off hard. Looks like a tiny bit of a maybe stumble start for Clarkson, unfortunately. That's 25, Matthew Klarner. They're already around the corner, and we'll wait for the Riley cam to figure out precisely where they are at the base of that final climb.
Yeah, and if we didn't do it, let's do it now. Lance Hastings is from St. Olaf College in Heat 3. Jack Gendro, Emmett Gray, and Austin Quillinen, all from the University of Wyoming there. That was your 3 teammates. Matthew Klarner from Clarkson and Gabriel Lloyd from Paul Smith's College rounding out that 6th member of Heat number 3. So we can expect all of those skiers coming up shortly here. And heat number 4, we're going to be looking for Caleb Simonson, Diego Shalasi, Diego Labotas, Anders Heckley, Henry Fisher, and Graydon Walker. So again, fast and furious action today on the sprint. No time to rest, no time to catch our breath. We are just going to keep it moving and keep you guys entertained. Again, our camera's on a bit of a delay, having a little bit of trouble picking them up, but we will continue to feed you live broadcasting until we have crowned a national champion in the Classic Sprint today.
Yeah, we already had someone come up and speak to us about how conditions were during qualifying. I know those men who are advancing into the semifinals are going to want to continue to stay warm and stay dry, and that the same is true for the women advancing to the semifinals. But if there's anybody who's moved on to cheering duty that wants to stop by the booth, let us know how the conditions are developing, especially now that the snow continues to accumulate and the tracks are getting skied in. We really would love to hear from you about how your heat went and what you think the decisive point on the course is. It was great to hear from Emma Reinecke earlier today as one of our student representatives. But yeah, I know we've got a couple bibs hanging around the finish here, getting ready to put on their warm-up clothes and go out and cheer. Don't be afraid to stop in. And if you are afraid, eventually we're just going to start calling you by name. And then you'll have to deal with the public opprobrium of not wanting to come in and talk to us. So, you can do it voluntarily or name and shame. I have no problem with that.
Luke is out for blood today.
This is a content farm. Yeah. We're getting a bit of a big ego on now that we had almost 1,000 views over the course of yesterday. So clearly we need to continue our broadcast. Our drive towards viral fame, which is only achievable with the insightful commentary and contributions of our racers. And we have skiers coming to the base here in quarterfinal 3. 16, Austin Quillian leading. Pack of 6 following, 5 close behind. 6, 26, and 25. Okay, so it sounds like it is Austin Quillian leading. Bib number 6, Jack Gendro following. Then 26, Gabriel Lloyd just behind. And it sounds like Austin Quillinen is opening his lead. I know I've pronounced his name differently every time I said it.
We're doing our best.
Okay, yeah.
We're doing our best.
Write him bigger.
Yeah.
How about that? How about write him in bigger letters, and then I'll figure it out. But yes, it sounds like University of Wyoming's Austin Quillinen is in the lead so far, followed by 6 Jack Gendro and 25 Matthew Klarner in there somewhere. Oh, and here they come into the line. Sure enough, it's Quillinen in the lead, followed by teammate from the University of Wyoming, bib 6. Sure enough, that is Jack Gendro. Oh, but it's going to be close with bib 16. That's, of course, someone else.
Bib 16.
Bib 15. Bib 15 comes in, so it's 3 Wyoming in a row. 16, 6, and 15. That's Austin Quillinen, Jack Gendro, and Emmett Gray. Behind them from Paul Smith's college is Gabriel Lloyd. Lance Hastings across the line representing St. Olaf. And finally, bib 25, Matthew Klarner. So Wyo 3 deep in this heat. 2 we know will advance. 1 we will have to wait and see on the lucky loser time, but a big celebration from 16, Austin Quillinen, as he crossed the line there. Seems like it was a hard-fought heat, and he's really excited to be moving on. We love to see it, Austin. Well done. Get some rest, get some hot chocolate in you, and we'll have to send you out back there in just a couple minutes.
It looks like our Heat 4 now is officially off, so again, off to a hot start for everyone. Looks like 5 deep with number 9 right behind them. Number 9 is Diego Shalasi, so going to be a tight heat as well, I think. We'll hear from our eye on the ground Riley soon. I wanted to give we were kind of starting on our other broadcasts that are going on. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to both Boss Hogg and Elon Olive on the Alpine call, and then Beeve and A. Shova over on the freestyle call. I don't know if you got a chance to check out their broadcast, but Beeve and Shova are notorious for making up stories about their competitors and just going on wild rants. Yesterday they were naming corners on their ski cross trail. One turned into the toilet bowl, I believe, and another into Grandma's knitting corner.
Interesting.
So, yes, again, ChatGPT is rules all when they get on the broadcast booth. But definitely check them out, either when we finish here at Nordic or at any point in time as we look to get our cameras back on.
Okay, well, he's doing a lot of yelling.
Yeah, he is doing a lot of yelling. I don't think he even knows we're talking about him.
No, he's not. If somebody wants to tap Austin Quillinen on the shoulder and let him know we'd love to talk to him, if he's got 2 minutes to spare, if you've got to cool down and stay warm, don't worry about it, Austin. But if you've got time, we'd love to hear from you. Oh, he's raising his hand. Come on in, set your poles down, come on in. Tell us about your heat, tell us about how it went. We want to hear it. Great work, Austin. All right. We know you got to get cooled down, so we'll keep this quick. But tell us about your heat. How was it out there? It looked like you were super excited with your finish.
Okay, I guess my best quick. Yeah, it was an awesome heat. I mean, I kind of got dropped going onto the start here. They just really out double pulled me. Coming into that climb on the back, you come around that corner. They were the right and the left track, and the middle track was just completely gone. But I saw my opening and I took it, man. Like, I'm used to not skiing on tracks. We don't really groom where I'm from, so I saw that opening, I charged through it, and I kept the lead until the finish. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. And what do you think is your strategy going to be for the semifinals here?
Well, don't tell these guys, but I think I'm going to do the same thing.
We won't tell if you won't tell, you know?
All right, well done, Austin. Go get warm and have a great race. Thank you so much for joining us. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Okay, I heard bib 19, so that would be Anders Heckley. All right.
So it's Anders Heckley leading, followed by Diego Shalasi. Then it's Diego Labadas, Caleb Simonson, and Henry Fisher. It sounds like maybe Brady Walker is a little bit off the back. Yes, so here we have them on video feed now. In the lead is actually Caleb Simonson in 2, unless, of course, we already missed. Oh, no, 19, Anders Heckley. So Anders Heckley in 2nd. They're followed by Diego Shalasi, bib number 9. Coming up behind them is number 12, Diego Labados. And as the camera pans, we should be able to see a quick finish here. Simonson leading into the final hill. Anders Heckley is pushing him a little bit, but once again, they're safely in 1-2. Well, Anders might challenge him for it.
He's coming for that top spot. These guys don't appear to be wanting to rest at all. They want to double pull strongly to the finish. He even switched lanes to try to get ahead. Again, that 1-2 finish, but number 3 close on the tails. I mean, probably not enough distance, as you mentioned, to get them, but that 1-2 spot to bib 2, again, Caleb Simonson, and bib 19, which was Anders Heckley. So good run for both of them. I saw bib 9 finish in 3rd, maybe a lucky loser situation with Diego Shalasi. We'll see if he can find his way into the semifinals.
Yep, and then followed by 12, that's Diego Labados with a great boot throw at the finish, and 25, 29 either way. I know that's Brady Walker from Western Colorado University.
It does look like now our cameras are back online, so you're actually seeing this heat number 5 in real time if you're joining us live, so we appreciate your patience on that. This is going to be Ivor Scarth, Tate Myers, Finnegan Payne, James Keyes, Elliot Kramer, and Rudy Harold. And they have just started their run, so again, just a slight delay now on the camera, but not too bad. Looks like a tight heat so far, and again, we can expect Ivor Scarseth, to be there in the finish, I believe. He's had some good runs earlier. Obviously, our victor yesterday in the 7.5K freestyle run.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest as well. Ivor Scarseth is a big guy. He's got a lot of muscle. He can put down a lot of power on this race course. We already saw that guys who favor double polling, Popkov, Ben Bauer, have been able to hold their own against some of the best riders in the league. Ivor Scarseth, as long as he can keep his feet underneath him, I think that he's in a strong position to win this heat because, again, those opening flat stretches are going to play very well to his double polling. Super interesting, though. It's too bad that we didn't get a chance to reflect on it before switching over to the Riley cam on the ground, but really grateful for Mr. Quillinan for joining us in here. Bib 16, if you recall, that was the winner from quarterfinal 3. Said that he fell to the back of the pack on the opening climb, and then the middle lane opened up to him. It sounded like the middle lane was falling apart a little bit, but undeterred by the snow conditions, he shot the gap, and by the time we saw him, he was leading his way up the hill and super excited about that heat win, putting the rest of the field on notice that he plans to do the same thing again. So it'll be exciting to see how the final men's heat shakes out here, whether or not Ivor can hold off the horde of eager skiers behind him who no doubt are looking to challenge his top spot from yesterday.
Yeah, and again, he said don't tell anyone that he was probably going to do that same strategy.
But he did say it over the PA.
Yeah,
so,
well,
you gotta
right.
balance, reasonable expectations.
Yeah, while we're waiting for our final quarterfinal for the men, I thought I'd read again that our semifinal number 1 for the women will kick off shortly at 12:25, which we've actually already passed, so assume that it will happen about 12:30 or so. But that will be Ren Hybertson, Lily Hughbanks, Lily Ward, Liesl Cope-Schaefer, Shayla Babbitts, and Maisie Morley for our semifinal number 1 for the women. Again, 2 semifinal heats for the women, 2 semifinal heats for the men, and then to the finals we go for the A and Bs so we can determine our national championship here in the Classic Sprint. A great day of racing. It's been super fun. Not that it's over yet, but again, just one of those wonderful days where the excitement is non-stop, and we will bring it to you live as long as we can. Again, now we're just sitting on the hill cam. I know that if you're joining us on the webcast, you're just looking at nothing, but here they come. We're getting our words.
Base of the hill. Ivor's leading all alone at the base of the hill. So that's bib 3, Ivor Scarseth with an early lead. It does sound like he was able to pull away in those double pole portions, perhaps unsurprisingly. So the big question is going to be, who takes 2? And so far it's 13 Finnegan Payne, 18 James Keyes. Then they're followed by 8 Tate Myers, 28 Rudy Harold, and 23 Elliot Kramer. So it sounds like Ivor Scarseth off to an early lead. Well, Ivor's going to have to pick it up. He's dogging it a little bit there on camera.
He did look a little bit slow.
It's not that big. Yep, and here's bib 13, Finnegan Payne, followed by bib 18, James Keyes. He's going to have to keep it steady through that slushy section. And then it sounds like rounding out the field is 8 Tate Myers, 28 Rudy Harold, and 23 Elliot Kramer. Ivor Scarseth in the lead. Quite a gap here. Unlikely that he's going to be caught.
At least in taking over for top 2 position, it does look like he has an idea of where the racers are behind him, but they are coming fast and
James
furious.
Keyes has got to make a move right now, and it's got to be big, but it looks like
does appear, though, that
Payne is not going to let him catch.
It does appear that Ivor knows exactly where they are, though. He's made multiple looks over his shoulder. I think he understood exactly what he needed to do to finish out that race, but did look like bib 13, is that correct?
Yep.
Bib 13 was Finnegan Payne, yes, and he did come through in the second place finish, but again, with someone like Ivor pacing you, you never know with that lucky loser slot when that was bib 18, correct? James Keyes.
James Keyes. Yep, that's right. And a friendly fist bump between James and Finnegan there at the finish line. It looks like maybe they had a close race out on the course. And, of course, big embraces from the University of Wisconsin-Madison boys out there to support James. He's a fast freshman. He's had a great Midwest season. And it's not over yet. We're not sure what the lucky loser situation is going to be today. And there's still 2 more days of racing ahead for Mr. Keyes.
Right. And it looks like with that completion of the 5th and final quarterfinal for the men, we will now move on to the women. I see them starting to make their way toward the start section. So again, for our first semifinal, we will see Ren Hybertson, Lily Hubanks, Lily Ward, Liesl Cope-Schaefer, Shayla Babbitts, and Maisie Morley. So 3 St. Olaf skiers in this semifinal. Heat number 1, obviously only 2 slots move on, plus a lucky loser. So we'll see if the 3 of them can continue this trend of moving on together.
Yeah, we're also getting a front row seat to some really interesting wax technique here. Torin massaging it with his hands, making sure that he applies, I don't know, a thin layer of skin on top, and keeping him warm with his own hot breath.
Yes.
So
I believe he learned that technique from Jeff Lathrop. I was told that personally. Yeah, he gives me the thumbs up. That's how I know it's true. That's my annual Jeff Lathrop shout out. If anyone knows Jeff, former Clarkson Alpine coach, now working over at Gould Academy, one of my good friends. Funny story, my first year at USCSA, I did Alpine with Boss Hogg, and he was up on the course, and I kept saying, like, my good friend Jeff Lathrop and my good friend, Brent Talbot. And the athletes are going up like, yo, Jeff, who's the announcer? Like, he says he knows you.
He says he knows you.
And he's like, I don't know him. So sure enough, I had to send him a text, be like, it's me, dude. Like, please still remember me. So,
well, maybe a little bit of an indication as to how conditions are. The cameras have switched over to a snowman. Looks like it was built by, could be one of the Clarkson skiers, or either that or it's U.S. Military Academy. It's hard to tell. That looks like Clarkson. They've got a little snowman there, perhaps a snow child coming out of the woods, not unlike the Prince Haakon carried to safety by the Birkebeiners those many, many years ago in 1206 in Norway. So perhaps he'll be carrying this little snow person over to safety on the other side of Mount Bachelor.
Emma did tell us earlier that this was good snowmaking weather, I believe, like snowman making weather.
Snowman making weather, yes, that's exactly right. And, perhaps we'll see. I think that there were a lot of athletes who their favorite memory of this season was some sort of great ECSC, that's Eastern Collegiate Skiing Conference, snowball fight. I'm telling you guys right now, this snow looks very compactable and very snowball fightable. So whether it's for a fun reason or because bad blood boils over, perhaps we'll see them duke it out with snowballs if they can't get what they want via racing results.
That is not Luke saying that you guys should have bad blood and fight it out. He's just making an observation. That it could happen.
This is purely observational.
And if it does happen, we will be sure to film it and broadcast it live.
Yes.
And give live-by-live commentary of what's going on.
And while we're waiting for the women's semifinal 1 to get underway, let's give a shout-out to the woman in red. That's Donna Nilsson. You can see she's got some sort of toothbrush in her hands. She really is an innovator, and what she's using there is actually grout brushes to scrape the snow out of the athlete's boots. It's this wet, heavy, compactable snow that just gets jammed in there under your toe. And Donna was watching the World Cup a couple weeks ago, and she saw them scraping things out of their boots. And thanks to Roy's endless home projects, they have no shortage of grout brushes. Yep. So they've got a pile of grout brushes, and she's putting them to good use. No grout out here on the course today, but plenty of snow in the boots, and it looks like it's the perfect tool for getting it loose. Those athletes look satisfied. Are your boots clear? Did the brushes work? Can we get a thumbs up from the starting line? Oh, and a thumbs up for Lily Hubanks. You love to see it. Great. Everybody's thrilled. Donna, well done. Roy, way to be out there. Yeah. They're a team of grouters. What can you do?
And again, we're getting ready now to kick off our semifinal heat for the women. So our first one, again, for a shot to move on to the A finals, hopefully, for lucky 2 coming up.
Yes, no more joking about grout. It's all very serious.
Right. Time to get locked in. Once this heat kicks off, too, Luke, I have some information on the boys' semifinal heats I will share with you and the rest of the people here so they can start to prepare. Our lucky losers have been announced.
Well, we'll hold you in suspense as the skiers reach the line. We're going to see the gun go up, and then we'll hear that snap. There they go. Ever so slightly a slow start, but they're off very fast in the left lane, striding. That appears to be bib 111, which must be, I'm looking at the wrong sheet, excuse me, folks. Bib 111 can be none other than Ren Hybertson. She had a great heat race, and she got off to a strong striding start in the far lane. I believe that means that she'll have minimal distance to cover in the scramble zone, which they've already cleared. Surely they're now locked into the tracks, headed into the wiggly, squiggly downhills, which will knock them back and forth until it's time to go up the first little punchy hill, things will level out for a little bit. Another punchy hill. That's where we'll hear from Riley. And then it's into the U-turn finish.
Yeah, and while we have a moment, let me give you the semifinal number 2 for the women so they can start to prepare themselves and get into the start gate. MLA Cam McGruber from St. Olaf is our first rank here, followed by Eleanor Vauthier, Jessie Rose Church, Maddie Rosenberger, Samantha Vauthier, and Ada Chapman for our semifinal number 2 in the women. So again, looking for that chance to move on to the final A group. And then while we're again waiting for our women to come through, I will give you the men's. So again, our semifinal men's are 2 finals for them. Pavel Rova, Benjamin Bauer, Philip Matthews, Tyler Hipchen, Austin Quillinen, and Daniel Gladkoff have moved on to the semifinal number 1. And semifinal number 2 will be Caleb Simonson, Anders Heckley, Ivor Scarseth, Finnegan Payne, Jack Dendro, and Diego Shalasi, making our 2 lucky losers from the men's qualification heats, Diego Shalasi and Daniel Gladkoff. So again, congratulations to those 12 male finishers. We'll see them shortly as soon as our 2 women's semifinals have kicked off. So again.
And just a quick reminder to everybody now that we have begun the women's semifinals and we know the men's semifinal standings. If you did not advance to the semifinals, you need your bib back. Please return your bib to the finish area. Our volunteers are waiting for you. They miss those bibs because, you know, we get to wash them every night. We get to wash your sweaty, nasty bibs, and then we have to sort them into piles, and we have to clip them together with carabiners, and we have to look at spreadsheets, and we have to do clipping and sorting and clipping and sorting. And you'd actually be pretty impressed how quickly we can get it done. But the bottom line is, if we go to wash and clip and sort, and we don't have your bib, we're going to be up late in a hotel room looking for your bib, very, very upset. And we're the people who are going to be calling and scoring your race the next day, so you don't really want that. So pretty please, bring those bibs back to the finishing area. If you are not advancing into the semifinals, we need your bibs back. Thank you kindly.
Luke, it sounds like that may be from some personal experience right there.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No. Yes,
Oh.
of course it is. Yes, and I shouldn't be complaining because it's our volunteers who really lock things down. But yes, it's it's the volunteers that make this organization go. And whether you're in Nordic, whether you're in Alpine, whether you're at the regional level, the local level, or here at the national championships, this league could not exist with volunteers. We know we have some wonderful folks from Mount Bachelor who are out here supporting us today. So if you see them, thank them. But now we have skiers coming through. Sounds like 101 in the lead. That's Hughbanks. 104 following. Small gap to 111 behind them. So it sounds like there's a slight move on the climb from 106.
I don't have a 106 in this heat, but
There is no 106 in this heat.
105 maybe.
And their interview, yep, that's 105 in the lead. That should be
Shayla Babbitts.
Shayla Babbitts is leading, and Lily Hughbanks is in second, 101, followed closely by bib 104. 104 has got to be Liesl Cope Schaefer. So Babbitts in the lead, ahead of at least 2 Olaf girls. I didn't quite get an eye on who was in fourth there.
Yeah, but we're going to see them come up shortly, and we'll get a chance to watch them into the finish line.
Yep, here they go. Oh, and it looks like there was a fall.
Yeah,
105 fell. Yes, that's Babbitts. Fell, recovered extremely quickly. She's back into second. 101, Lily Hughbanks leading into the final drag. Maybe Babbitts didn't actually go down because she was back on her feet extremely quickly.
I do think she had a stumble down there. I wasn't sure either, but I do think she had a slight stumble, but she was able to pull it together. I'm not sure if she actually hit the ground, but it is going to mean that Lily Hughbanks takes that lead, and oh my gosh, a photo finish for second.
Yeah, double polling like mad. Babbitts trying to hold off Liesl Cope Schaefer, who had a great finishing push. 116 coming in. That's from Western Colorado University. Maisie, what's that letter? It's blotted
Maisie
out.
Morley.
Morley, thank you. Maisie Morley, and they're followed by bib 111. Ren Hybertson, who had such a strong start here, and coming up into the line, closing out women's semifinal 1 here. That's going to be bib 107, Lily Ward from St. Olaf College.
Yeah, again, looks like maybe we have a slight delay on the camera, so we apologize if we spoiled it for our viewers watching us on the webcast, but it was an exciting finish nonetheless. does look like Lily Eubanks, and then that photo finish for second. Maybe we'll have to see what the scores say there, or if there was any sort of protest or any, there might have been some contact. I don't know, but we just saw sort of a fall or a stumble over there. So we'll wait to see what we get from the timers. But again, we are ready to kick off our second semifinal for the women, which again would be MLA Cam McGruber, Eleanor Vauthier, Jessie Rose Church, Maddie Rosenberger, Samantha Vauthier, and Ada Chapman. And I heard the gun as I was finishing, which means they are off.
Yep, there they go. Ada Chapman is leading on the outside. It actually looks like Cam McGruder is looking over her left shoulder to keep an eye on Chapman. Rosenberger ever so slightly off the back, and on the far right, it looked like a CMU bib, which has got to be... looking at the wrong sheet here. If it's a CMU bib, that's got to be no one in this heat. There are no CMU bibs in this heat, so I guess I'm hallucinating. I'm guessing it's a cowboy. I'm guessing it's 106, which has got to be one of the Vauthiers. That's right, it's Samantha Vauthier. So yeah, super interesting finish there on women's semifinal 2. If bib 105, I know she's got to get cooled down and ready for the next race, because hopefully she is advancing. It was hard to tell at the finish line there, but Shayla Babbitts, we brought in Austin Quillen in earlier to tell us about his finish. Shayla, if you want to pop into the booth real quick and let us know what happened around that final corner. It was an amazing recovery. We'd love to hear just a few words. If not, we totally understand. We know you've got more races to do, God willing, but come on in. We'll give you 2 minutes of airtime. Let us know what you think.
I think she's reluctantly making her way.
She's making a reluctant trek to the booth.
Yeah, I think we shamed her into doing it. So.
No, not shamed. Invited. Yeah. There was no shame in this.
No shame.
We're very excited to hear what the race was like, what the course conditions were like. Of course, with the wind, with the snow coming down, they're changing minute to minute. Thank you so much for joining us, Shayla. If you could speak loudly and clearly into the mic, but looked like it was a really exciting finish. Can you tell us about that? It was hard to tell over the hill line. Was it a bobble? Was it a fall? What happened? You were leading, and then all of a sudden you were back on your feet.
Yeah, I went down around the last corner, which I was not so happy about, but I tried to get up really quick, and everyone was cheering really loud, but I think she still got me at the finish, but yeah.
Well, it was an amazing recovery, and it was a great drive to the finish. Can you tell us about the rest of the course? How are the conditions out there, and what was your strategy for the race? You had a great lead for a portion of it.
Yeah, I think I noticed in my semifinal that it was, or quarterfinal, that this hill was good on the outside, so I got some lead there, and then just popped in behind Lily, and yeah.
Well, wonderful. And I guess last but not least, what's your favorite thing about sprinting?
I just like how you really put it all out there, and you don't have to think about where you're gonna put it all out there. You just go as fast as you can all the time.
Well, congratulations on a great race. We'll keep our breath bated, to see what the final results are. Thanks for joining us in the booth, Shayla. Folks, that was Shayla Babbitts from women's semifinal 1. She had a great race, a bobble at the finish, but a great recovery. It's going to be really exciting to see which women advance into the finals. But as with earlier athletes, we had Emma in here. Mm-hmm. We had Austin in here. Who else did we have in here? I know we just had Shayla. Was there one more today?
No, I believe that was it.
That was it. Well, we've had 3 athletes in so far, and we want to say thank you to each and every one of them. You folks have been throwing down some great races, and it's just so much more exciting to hear from your perspective what the course is like, what the conditions are like, and what the event is like. And now we've got skiers coming up in women's semifinal 2.
Number 1. Sorry. Number 2. Excuse me. I apologize. You were right.
Sounds like 102 has a healthy lead. That's going to be Cam McGruder, followed by 112, 106, and 109 and 108 are all charging up the hill together.
That's Ada Chapman, Eleanor Vauthier, Samantha Vauthier.
So 102, off to a healthy lead. That's Ame Cam McGruder. We know she's a great classic skier and a great distance classic skier. Exciting to see her doing so well in the sprints. She's actually out of the camera fame before the rest of the group is here. Oh, and it's a big train. Look at that. 106, that's going to be Samantha Vauthier. She's followed by 109. My money's that sister Eleanor Vauthier.
Yes.
And in 4 and 5, our teammates Maddie Rosenberger from Western Colorado and
Ada Chapman.
Ada Chapman. Thank you.
Yep.
So Looks like Ame Cam Magruder is going to sail to a spot in the women's A final with a healthy lead here in women's semifinal 2. But it's going to be close between the Vauthier sisters and the Western Colorado teammates coming into the final stretch.
Yeah.
Looks like older sister Samantha has a slight lead. Oh, and there's a fall from one of the Western skiers, but they're back on their feet very quickly. Eleanor is trying to close against sister Samantha, but can't quite do it. Strong double pole for everybody. And Samantha Vauthier, 106, is across the line in second, just behind her sister Eleanor Vauthier. And finally, neck and neck, it's Ada Chapman and Maddie Rosenberger. That one is going to be a photo. They crossed the line together, the Western Colorado teammates.
Right, and then we have our final competitor, which was Jessie Rose Church, now coming through our final stretch. Pick her up with the camera for you if we can. No worries if not, but again, it looks like we're still having some technical difficulties on our starting cam, and we do apologize for that. We are trying to bring you as much live broadcast as possible so you at least know what's going on. And it does look like our men have started to get ready for their semifinal heat number 1. So again, Pavel Rova, Benjamin Bauer, Philip Matthews, Tyler Hipchen, Austin Quillinen, who we talked to earlier, and Daniel Gladkoff have now all made it to the start line.
Friendly wave from Austin.
Yeah, Austin should be focused on his race, not on us, but I do appreciate the wave.
Gun's about to go up. This is going to be a great heat. And they're off. All right, we know that Pavel Rova is a superb strider. We know that Phil Matthews has had some great sprint races earlier this season. We know that Austin Quillinen knows how to time a gap, and we know that Ben Bauer is a monster double polar. There are 4 unique gentlemen in this heat, and it's really exciting to see who is going to advance to the men's A final, especially as the crowd out on the course grows. You can see, I wonder if that was St. Olaf or CMU, but a big pack of kids just dispersed into the woods here. As long as you're not stepping on the track, we love to have you guys out on the course cheering, so thanks for being out there. But yeah, some big names, some big personalities, and some very, very interesting skiing styles in this men's semifinal 1.
And then we'll go ahead and announce semifinal number 2, which should be making their way toward the start section, but that'll be Caleb Simonson, Anders Heckley, Ivor Scarseth, Finnegan Payne, Jack Gendro, and Diego Shalasi. So those 6 competitors will be in semifinal number 2, looking for a spot in the A final. Again, we're approaching our finals now, our B and A. We'll do I believe B goes first and A goes second, but I could be wrong about that. I hope I have that correct.
I think you're correct about that.
Yeah.
I think that the A final is the one for all the marbles. That's
Right,
how
right.
our 1, 2, 3 are going to decide it. That's who goes home with the medals. So yeah, it'll be very, very exciting to see who's advancing and who's advancing to the B final. I believe that means, though, that most of our skiers here in the semis will race a second time.
Yes, a B final is most likely for a few of them, so we'll find out who our top 10 are very shortly. It does look like the weather has changed just a bit, Luke. I mean, it's still snowing, don't get me wrong, but it does look like the snow is maybe a little bit lighter and a little bit narrower. I know you're grimacing at me as if it's not really, but
I think you're correct about it. I just think it's been snowing for
Yeah.
3 hours, and to the racers on the course, I don't think it's going to matter too much.
No, that's
but I
fair.
think you're
That's
correct.
fair.
You're correct.
I thought it was mellowing out just a tad here. It looked a little bit less, it's a little less on our camera. Like it, could kind of see a little better. So,
well, and it does seem
I was
like
hoping.
it does seem like we're getting the best of both worlds here in Bend, Oregon. Yesterday we had sort of a classic spring skiing day. It was sunny. It was clear. The temperatures were warm enough that we had some skiers racing in just bibs, and after the finish, everybody was cooling off a little bit. Fast conditions, clear skies, and today it's back to blizzard-like. Trees are getting covered in a nice layer of snow. Fortunately, so are the tracks, and so are the skiers. But undeterred, they are gritting up for the men's semifinal 2. We should be hearing from Riley on the hill very shortly as to, and here he is right on cue. Sounds like it's 1 and 7 together.
Okay, that's
so
Pavel Rova and Tyler Hipchen.
followed slightly by number 10.
That's Daniel Gladkoff there.
Okay, so it sounds like 1, 7, and 10. And sure enough, here they are in view. Oh, rather, it's 1,
1,
4,
4,
and 10. So we must have missed Philip
Philip
Matthews on the
Matthews.
Riley call. And Phil Matthews actually there taking the inside of the corner against bib 1, Pavel Rova. It's going to be a dead sprint up this final incline. Looks like Ben Bauer was back in 4th. and Tyler Hipchin, right, bib number 7 there in third. So Phil Matthews has opened a bit of a gap on Pavlova. Pavlova, a little bit of a bobble into the finish line. Strong double pole. Wow, Phil Matthews really opened on that downhill. He must have taken the inside of the corners quite well. But Phil Matthews crossing in first for men's semifinal 1. Followed shortly by Pavlova, and then it's Tyler Hipchin, bib 7 in 3. Right behind him is Ben Bauer, bib 11 for the Bulldogs in 4. And Daniel Gladkoff, bib 10 coming into the finish, representing St. Olaf, followed by bib that looks like 16 from the University of Wyoming.
That's our boy.
Villanin.
Yeah, actually, I believe number 4 asked me to request a song. Unfortunately, I can't play anything but copyright-free music because, once again, we're streaming on YouTube. But it doesn't seem like you needed it anyway because you raced out to such a good lead. But yeah, time to take a nap. Unfortunately for you, you still have an A final to compete in, so no naps yet. We will be moving right along. It looks like semifinal number 2 is already in the gate, ready to go again. Caleb Simonson, Benjamin Bauer, Philip Matthews, Tyler, that was bib 1. Caleb Simonson, Anders Heckley, Ivor Scarseth, Finnegan Payne, Jack Gendro, and Diego Solasi are off.
And Evers straight into that double pole, and he's already got about half a ski length on the rest of the field. Look at that. The gap is already open to a full ski length, and that's just by the top of the hill. So Ivor Scarseth is out for blood today. Double poling like a madman, and, he's about 7 feet tall. So I was going to say that he's using every inch of himself to get up those hills and put power down onto his skis.
Yeah, one of the things you notice about classic skiing, I think, more than maybe in the skate ski, is length being a big important factor. Like, we've talked about the techniques of both double pole and of like kicking or striding, but that length of a skier, when you're tall like that, to get out in front or to get over the skis with the double pole, big for moving faster, especially in something like a sprint.
And, well, it can be a huge asset when it comes to double poling, but of course we have to remember that the big strong guys and the big strong women who pack a lot of muscle onto a frame, the challenge is that they have to move that uphill. Peter Northug, the great Norwegian skier, always joked that he could never win the Tour de Ski because his frame was too large to get up Alpe sur Mise. And sure enough, his only win on Alpe sur Mise is by default, because the winner, Martin Josrin Sundby, I believe, was disqualified in retrospect for doping. So on a flat course, a big, tall skier can have a huge advantage. Or not a huge advantage, but they can have an advantage. However, once the hills start, everything's out the window. And of course we know that skiers of all ages, shapes, and sizes can be superb athletes. So there's not a super strong correlation between height and performance like there might be in basketball.
I do have an update also now on the women's finals, so I'll go ahead and read those to you so you can see who moved on. But our B final, so the B final that will happen first at approximately 12:50, which we've already passed, so imagine that will be next. But Maisie Morley, Ren Hybertson, Lily Ward, Ada Chapman, Maddie Rosenberger, and Jessie Rose Church will race first in our B group for the women. And in our A group, we will see Lily Hubanks, Liesl Koch-Schaefer, Emily Cam Magruder, Samantha Vauthier, Shayla Babbitts, and Eleanor Vauthier. So again, the sisters will be racing in the finals, which means that the lucky loser there was Samantha, I believe, because I think Eleanor came in first.
Oh, did I have them mixed up?
No, I don't, or either one.
No, I think Eleanor was the lucky loser. I believe 106 Samantha led sister Eleanor. 109 is Eleanor. Yep.
So then our lucky loser there. Either way, racing for a top spot here on our podium. Again, now we'll wait to see the corner and wait to hear. Sounds like we have a skier all alone, so we will see them shortly on our hill cam. Again, waiting now for our confirmation on the top. We did have Ivor in this heat. It does look like that is bib 3. Yes, bib 3, Ivor Scarseth, and you can see someone relatively close, but a pretty good lead for Ivor. That looks like bib number 2, which would be Caleb Simonson, and then quickly bib 9, right behind him, Diego Solasi. Bib number 19, I believe, Anders Heckley, and then bib 6, Jack Gendro. And then finally in the pack there is bib 13, Finnegan Payne, but it looks like this is Ivor's race to lose for a spot in the A finals. And yeah, we can see him now coming up to the finish section. Strong double pole still, checks over his shoulder to see if anyone's too close, but does appear like he's going to employ the same strategy. Yep, followed up by another
Another yellow bib. Looks like number 2 from the University of Wyoming. That's got to be whoever bib 2 is.
Caleb Simonson.
Caleb
was bib number
Simonson,
2.
thank you. That's Caleb Simonson and bib 2. So those boys will both advance to the A final. And then bib 19 from Western Colorado, Anders Heckley. It'll be down to time whether Anders Heckley is going to the A final or the B final. Bib 6 from Wyoming coming in. That is Jack Lendrow, and just behind them, I believe that was a Clarkson bib. Yep, that's 13, Finnegan Payne. A quick announcement unrelated to the results on track, but very important. If we could get the B final standings, Slider, that would be great. There were a couple women in the women's B final who turned in their bibs. You need to listen very carefully because these women are advancing to the B final. They will need to reclaim their bib from the finish area. So, Slider, if you could read out the women for the women's B final, you need to make sure you have your bib.
In our women's B final, we have Maisie Morley, Ren Hybertson, Lily Ward, Ada Chapman, Maddie Rosenberger, and Jessie Church. So if any of those 6 skiers turned in their bibs, please go pick up your bib again so you can finish out the race. Again, I'll read it one more time. Maisie Morley, Ren Hybertson, Lily Ward, Ada Chapman, Maddie Rosenberger, and Jessie Rose Church. Please make your way to get your bib if you turned it in already. All right, we are now, I actually have, let's check out and see what we have left. We are again just now waiting for the women's B finals, I believe. We've had both men's semifinals come in. So again, we are moving on to award our national championship runs. We'll do both B finals, which again is for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then obviously our A final for 1 through 6. I'm seeing a lot more zeros out there and, sort of the crowns that I mentioned earlier. I'm not sure if anyone actually took those out, but if they did, feel free to, shout me out for that pick earlier. I think the UMF team is unfortunately left. They didn't have any more competitors in, but Buzz Bean, my old height. There he is. I see him actually. Never mind. But he probably busted out the crowns today. That was the ski of choice. I knew it. I called it just like I did in the state meet all those years ago.
Buzz,
but we
sticking
can't
around.
use
Now that's a
fluoros.
good attitude. Even though UMF is no more skiers racing, we love to see the athletes and the coaches who hang around and watch the finals. We know that these athletes have worked hard all year, to make it to what essentially comes down to 3 minutes, sometimes 4 minutes of racing. So we really hope that folks will stay and cheer on the skiers in the A and the B final as we award your sprint national champions coming up here. It's no small feat, especially racing in adverse conditions on, I would say, a deceptively challenging track. I know we've been talking all day about how the course really lends itself to strong double poling, and it's not necessarily a climber's course, but we saw yesterday that that means it's a working person's course. There's no real opportunity to rest, and on top of that, these sharp corners, and especially these sweeping downhills, really require that you stay fast on your feet, especially on classic skis. That's just a quick reminder as well that if you turned in your bib and you're racing in the women's B final, you're going to need it. Same thing goes for the men. So if you hang on to your bib until we make the announcement as to who is in what final, because we want you out there racing, and we need you in a bib.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting it sorted out. Looks like maybe Ren didn't know she was moving on, so throwing back on bib 111, which was her bib from earlier, so she can get out there and hopefully maybe track down a top 10 spot today for the
always a
national
pleasant surprise to figure out you're moving on. Definitely
you still have a chance. Yeah,
definitely gets the heart pumping to realize that you're not done for the day. You can't start cheering. You've got to strap in one more time and go out through 1.5 kilometers of swirling snow and flying skis and flying spittle and sweat as well, I would imagine. These athletes are working pretty hard, but certainly a treat to know that you've got one more sprint race under your belt. Skiers get to do it so rarely once they graduate from college, so it's important to cherish this sprinting while they can, because once you get into the citizen world, it's all 50Ks, and
nobody wants to do 50Ks.
They're not giving out sprint points. They're not giving out sprint points. Ugh. Looks like a bit of discussion here before we move the skiers into their lanes of choice here in the women's B final to award spots 7 through 12 of our USCSA National Championships. Worth noting as well that there are team points on the line. You know, yesterday St. Olaf swept to victory in the women's standings. I'm going to have to take a look back at my phone to figure out who was 2 and 3, but if I recall correctly, both of those teams had 30 points and were ranked at 2 and 3 by tiebreaker. So that means that there's a lot on the line, especially for spots 7 through 12. Top 3 skiers in a day score. And let's take a look back at yesterday's team standings, figure out where things are sitting, because it's going to make a big difference who's in